modernizing it. But
So for those just joining us, we'll be taking questions through the chat and directing them toward Michael. So if you don't see your chat window, find the button kind of on the bottom of your screen that says chat. Looks like a little speech bubble with a dot, dot, dot. Click on that. The chat will open at the side, and feel free to chat your questions hither and thither.
Yes, and I also see the chat right next to
perfect.
all of the screens. So yes, I will see everything as it comes in. But for everybody that's in here so far, I don't know if we're probably gonna wait for a few more people just in case, because I know it's only been going for like a minute. But just for anybody that doesn't know, hello, my name is Michael Kovach, and I'm a voice actor. I've had the privilege of voicing. I don't expect you guys to know everything, but the most popular thing that I'm a part of is I was in the Has Been Hotel pilot and the Addict music video as the voice of Angel Dust. I would do the voice. I'm kind of doing it, but my voice is a little screwed up. I did a screaming session yesterday, so the voice isn't particularly there. But he's kind of he's like a higher pitched nasally voice. I voice Fantokyo, the great Fantokyo, in a upcoming video game called Billy Bust Up, which is a musical video game, which is really fun. I got to do a song for that with Daniel Ingram, who's the lead composer for the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series, which was a really wild experience. Other things, Lackadaisy, if you guys are familiar with Lackadaisy, that's a web comic that's been going on since, oh gosh, I think like 2006 or 7. I was a baby. I was in elementary school when that webcomic started coming out. They're making a short film for that. And I voiced the character Rocky Rickaby in that, who's, I believe, the main character. And I just started doing more anime dubs. I'm in Akudama Drive as a character named Bunny. Dragon Goes House Hunting as a character named Letty. And that's it so far, but we'll see what the future holds. And there's a bunch more things. I don't have my resume pulled up. I didn't write anything to prepare for this. So I'm just freeballing it. But
it's the PortCon main way is freeballing. Ask
exactly.
Anyone.
That's how we do it. You just kind of go off the top of your head and just hope for the best.
So here's a fun basic one to start with. Also, props to the Fat Nugget.
I saw the little chat that said Fat Nuggets is so cute. I have him right here. Goodbye. No, I wouldn't throw him. I wouldn't do that to him.
Here's a softball question for you: Is which voice is your favorite and why?
Oh, my favorite voice is the great Fantokyo, which I can't do because his voice is way higher and my voice is slightly blown out. But his voice is usually up here. Oh man, it sounds so choked up now. His voice is like, it's kind of in the same range as Angel, but it's a lot more gravelly. And he's a lot more fun. He's very theatrical. He's a very theatrical character that like he's a goofball. He's basically just like this very big, small little goofball. And the voice is it's up in the back of my throat, but also very gravelly. So he just kind of sounds like this most of the time. That's kind of close to it. But I had a screaming session yesterday, so I apologize if my voice isn't fully in 100%. But yeah, no, Fantokyo is probably my favorite voice to do. With who would be my second favorite? Probably Angel. It's in the same place.
Does it tax on your throat after a while?
No, not at all. Not at all. Fantokyo might be a little taxing after a while if I do like really loud stuff. But his voice is generally, it comes to me pretty naturally, him and Angel. The most graveling voices that actually, if I were to do the character Rocky from Lackadaisy, his voice is around here, so his voice is lower and more gravelly kind of sounding. So if I were to do that for a long period of time, that might start to hurt a little bit. But otherwise, no, actually, most of the characters I voice, I'm generally pretty good with maintaining the voice, and yeah, it usually doesn't hurt. I usually try my best to take care of my voice to make sure that it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Unless it's like a very strenuous session, in which case there's no preserving the voice. It's gonna get lost.
Lackadaisy's the one that's cats. Yeah, it's like a sepia toned.
It's called Lackadaisy Cats. if it's by Tracy Butler. Let me check actually how long it's been going on. Yeah,
I
July 19th,
That's
2006.
it's been around for ages because I
It's been
remember
around a
the
while.
like the start of Tumblr and Twitter. It was there, like fully formed as though from Zeus. Oh, here's a question for you from the chat. Uh, Adia, I believe, is the name. And how do you handle singing while voicing a character with a higher pitch?
I don't even really think about it. I just kind of try my best, and it's harder. I'll say that it's definitely harder because you need more breath control. Because the higher you go, obviously, the more breath it takes, and that's a bit of a confusing experience, especially when you're doing like a loud character. So for my song with Fantokyo, he sings a song that's like, "I've had enough of you, so time to be my puppet on a string." He sings a song like that, but it's obviously a lot higher because it's actually in the character's voice. And with that song, um, I was sweating buckets by the end of it
Mm.
because we were doing a bunch of different takes just to make sure, because we were doing it remote. I recorded it from home instead of in a studio. And I had to record a bunch of takes just for safety, just to have different options. And we went a line at a time. So I would do maybe the first few lines of the first verse, and then we just do a few takes of that in a few different ways, and then we move on from there, et cetera, et cetera. The session I think lasted like 2 hours, but doing a song in that high of a pitch for like 2 hours, especially when it's like a
Yeah,
high energy song, that can be a bit. But it was a lot of fun, and Daniel Ingram is a very sweet guy. Yeah, I was very intimidated by him because he obviously has a huge portfolio to his name. He did the music for My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, which I never personally saw the show, but I know a lot of people that are big fans of it.
big
So
fans.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So
People are very, very intense about that fandom.
oh no, it's got a huge legacy,
It's
and a
awesome.
lot of people really like it, and people love the music too.
Hmm.
So I
Well, the
was I
music
was
was super good. It's like Steven Universe, where you cut at first glance, it's like, oh, cartoon. But the more you listen, you're like, this is quality stuff.
no, exactly. It's really well done, and especially for being a children's program, it's
Hmm.
there's so much heart and soul put into it, and Daniel did a great job with that entire series, and I it's honestly very much a privilege to be able to work with him on something, especially something independent like
Mm.
the a video game, especially. So and also the game wasn't originally intended to be a musical. It was just supposed to have like one musical number, but after the song was in development, they were like, screw it. Let's just make the whole game a musical." And I'm honestly, I really am curious to see how that's going to pan out, because I don't know if like a 3D platformer has really gone into that territory of being like a full-on musical before.
So was
That
that decision made before or after the voice actors had signed on? Like, surprise, you're
oh,
singing now.
when when I signed on, it wasn't a musical.
Haha.
In fact, what's funny is I don't know how much this had to do with anything, but I just remember that basically they have a Discord server for the video game Billy Bust Up, and I remember there was a point where someone drew a picture of the character Fantokyo, who's like a little wooden puppet. They drew a picture of him singing, what's the name of the song? "I've Got No Strings" from Pinocchio.
Mhm.
And so I did a song cover of it just for fun, just in the server. And once they heard the song cover, they were like, it might be fun to give him a little musical number in the game, just like as his boss fight. That could be fun. And so they experimented with that idea, and it led to them being like, oh shoot, it would just be fun to make the whole game a musical. So technically, it was because I did a cover of a song that it became a musical, which is really
That's
weird,
awesome.
but it's really fun. I'm glad they went in that direction. It's gonna be very innovative, I think. I'm very
Mhm.
curious.
Is
Uh,
that something coming out soon?
it's got a little bit of a ways ahead of it. It's currently in production. They're very, very transparent about their production, though. They make constant posts on Twitter, and they
Mhm.
had a Kickstarter. They had a Kickstarter pledge thing going on. So I think they're expecting to release between 2023 and 2024. So it's still got a ways to go,
Yep.
but they've been posting updates on Twitter and I think their website and Instagram. I don't know all the sites they use. I mostly just use Twitter, so
Mhm.
I'm not really up to date on everything. But yeah, they post updates all the time. So uh, they're very transparent about everything.
Huh. What would be an example of it could be an existing role or just a character that you think would be super interesting to do, even if it's already been done or doesn't currently exist in a medium that requires voiceover? But
Hmm.
what is like the role that you would be your dream to do?
So this question is always fun. Um, as far as like, okay, so childhood me was obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm still
Oh
obsessed with
yeah.
it in some way. I don't know if I'd ever want to voice him though, because there's always this reputation that comes with being the voice of Sonic. There's always,
Mm.
people that are diehard fans of like an original voice for Sonic, like one of the previous voices, and they'll be like, "Oh, I hate that new guy," whether or not they're okay or not. There's always going to be like this trend of negativity that follows people within Sonic. Um, I would love to, but also at the same time, I think if anything, I'd like to rephrase that as I would love to voice in Sonic in some way, like be a part
Mhm.
of that franchise. Another franchise that I'd really like to be a part of, just in general, would be like Spyro the Dragon. I know Spyro the
Oh
Dragon is
yeah.
making a slight comeback with the Reignited trilogy and whatnot. That's a game that I've always loved growing up. So yeah, I just have a thing for like old classic legacy 3D, 2D platformer games, honestly. Um,
Hmm.
and being a part of those franchises would be wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
People agree about the Sonic voice actor reputations. It is pretty iconic. I remember the cartoons, and I remember that voice very specifically.
Yeah, I remember there was Ryan Drummond who voiced him in the adventure games, and then after after they did the Four Kids dub, they had Jason Griffith, and everybody like would constantly talk smack on Jason Griffith and send him emails complaining about his performance, even like threats, and like that's not very good. People in that trend followed even to Roger Craig Smith, the current voice of Sonic. So it's like it just seems like a lot of people have a lot of vitriol to change for that
Mm.
particular franchise,
Weird.
which sucks. But I mean, I guess that's just part of that franchise's community, I guess, which
Mm.
which sucks. Doesn't feel great, but I mean, it is what it is, I suppose.
Oh
Uh,
God, Jaleel White. Yeah, for real.
Jaleel White was a classic. I loved Jaleel White as Sonic.
Yeah,
That was such a classic voice. Um, Also, I saw somebody mention, "How's your girlfriend Ashley doing?" She's doing good. She's in the other room right now working on her cartoon Farfetch'd, which is currently still. They're working on a little short for it before they work on the pilot, but she's doing great. She recently she did a what was it? She did a Pride event, I think, for Lackadaisy, actually, for that Project Lackadaisy. They've There's a lot of collaboration with her and them on doing events. Because I don't know if everybody here is aware, but when Has Been Hotel was still coming out, we did a series of podcasts. There was the Honeycast, which was very popular, and a lot of people would come to those. And at some point, we just kind of took a hiatus because we wanted to focus on other things. And while it's still on hiatus, Ashley does still kind of use the Honeycast name for collaborations, like with Lackadaisy for Pride or for Black Lives Matter or for whatever kind of event they're hoping to try and raise donations and funds for. So
that's awesome.
yeah, that's a thing that happens every now and again, which is very lovely, and I try to be a part of those whenever I can too. But yeah, no, to answer your question, Ashley. Oh, your name is Ashley too. That's great. No, my girlfriend Ashley is doing great. Love
I see
Honeycast.
another. Yeah, there's another question there. What's the most fun part of voicing Angel Dust?
Whew. Well, honestly, it's just voicing him. I hate to sound generic, but I admittedly haven't had too much to do with Angel. I mostly did the pilot, which the most fun part of doing the pilot was definitely him being very much flirtatious and annoying to Serpentius in the pilot during the scene where he and Cherry Bomb are messing with Serpentius. That
Mhm.
scene was probably the most fun I had recording for him. And I think the moments where he's just teasing and being a flirt and just, trying to rile other people up. Um, I feel like that's probably the most fun part of his character. Um, though, admittedly, I have a lot of fun just performing as him in general. He's a great guy.
Mhm.
he's a
It's
I mean,
a it's a really cool character.
he's a bad person, but he's a great character to voice. He's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
No, villains, I think, always have kind of more play. There's more room where you can kind of explore.
No,
We
exactly.
Yeah, speaking of Cherry Bomb, we just had a panel with Crystal. She's doing great.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I haven't talked to Crystal in a good bit. Um, how did her panel go? How's she doing? Is she
Went really well. She actually zoomed in with Chris, so it was cool to see him as well. And no, it was a good time. We
Oh,
talked about all sorts
nice.
of stuff like food dehydration and how to balance being a lawyer with being a voice actor. It was actually super
Oh
cool.
yeah, because she is a lawyer too, which is really
Hmm.
nuts. That is absolutely not the career path I would have expected from
It's
her.
so neat though the way she was saying that voice acting and just observational skills that you use in voice acting, how often they come in handy as a lawyer. Like not just she said litigation is acting with consequences was the way that she put it. Which I was like,
That makes
yeah,
sense. That makes a
yeah.
lot of sense.
And how she gets to see the full broad spectrum of human emotion if you just spend a day in a courthouse watching different people, and that's all that she needs to pull on for different acting scenes and different emotions.
Hmm.
That's absolutely true.
I mean, I guess
So
being an actor would help a lot too.
it would,
Yeah.
right? So segue to you. What
Hmm.
are some, like, do you have personal like hooked things where like, oh, time to cry, I'm gonna pull out this from the memory bank or
You know what? I used to. I
mhm,
used to. These days, I don't actually have any. I'm a little more used to being able to just kind of try and insert myself into a scene. I try my best to just think about the characters' thoughts and what's going on with them in their head, like why they're feeling a certain way and what like how intense it might be to them. I try to think about that first and foremost. As far as personal experiences, um, my memory is awful, so
yeah.
I can't always recollect certain things for stuff like that.
Mhm.
So no, there's no like personal recollections that I usually tend to go to. I just try to think about the character and what situation they're in and why they're feeling a certain way and how I'd feel in that situation and try to compare.
Hmm. What's your favorite genre of film or otherwise?
Oh, definitely comedy. Definitely like
Really?
I love comedy so much. um, but it's between comedy and sci-fi because sci-fi is really cool. Um,
Ah.
yeah, I just watched oh my god, hold on. I need to Google it. It was a movie from oh, hold on. The guy from The Matrix is in it. Let me find his name. Not Keanu Reeves. Lawrence Fishburne. Let me find what the name of the movie is real quick. I just watched it and it was really good. Event Horizon. I just
Oh
watched
God, you just saw that for the
I
first
just
time?
yeah, I just saw
Oh,
that like a few weeks ago.
that's a
Yeah, I just saw Event Horizon for the first time like recently, and that movie is so good. It's such a shame that they lost so much footage from it.
Yeah, they had kept them in salt mines and they were just
Oh,
utterly destroyed by the time they decided maybe we should do what the director wanted. I remember they marketed that as a sci-fi instead of a horror, which they should have. So a lot of
yeah.
people walking out of the theater were like, "What have I just seen?" Rightly
Yeah.
so.
Exactly. Like I agree that it is definitely a sci-fi, but it's way more of a horror. So it's like
Mhm.
it's a sci-fi horror is the thing. And it's honestly it's really good. I
It's
really
such a
enjoyed
good
it.
concept that the warp drive, well, I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't
Yeah,
seen it in the
no.
last
If you haven't seen it,
15 years.
if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's really good. It's just such a shame that a lot of the footage is lost because I know that they had to cut a bunch of the stuff from the
The
movie
stuff.
specifically for a lot of the stuff.
The stuff. I know
The
exactly
stuff.
what's, and it's so bizarre. It's got Sam Neill, which you might attendees might know. He's Alan from Jurassic Park. He's just like
Hmm.
such a wholesome guy in Jurassic Park. You're like, oh, Sam Neill. Oh, he's such a nice guy. Oh, Velociraptor saying Alan. Oh, and then by the end of this movie, you're like, oh my God, Sam, what have
God,
you done?
exactly. That movie is a trip. I really enjoyed it. Um, Admittedly, I'm not as much of a cinephile as I should be. I really need to watch more movies. I've got a lot of. Do you know Lauren Landa at all? She's a voice actress also. But she voiced Annie in Attack on Titan, and she's Juno in Beastars.
Hmm.
I was talking to her about a bunch of movies that I haven't seen, and she's like, she really wants to just lock me in a room for like a week and just show me a bunch of movies at this point because there's so many that I haven't seen.
That's a
I'm
whole popular genre too at streaming and on YouTube is just
mhm.
record yourself having reactions to these movies that other people are so familiar with. I'll admit I watch those all the time. Like, oh, this guy's watching this for the first time. All right, let's see how
Yeah,
you fare.
yeah, but then there's also the issue of, obviously the copyrights and everything because
Yeah.
you need to get permission to do stuff like that, and you probably wouldn't get permission to do an actual
The
like
way
movie
they get
stream.
around that is you have to stream not the movie, just yourself, and people can
Yeah,
watch along
like
with you with the timestamp.
yeah, like they have on Twitch, I believe they have the new watch party thing where if you have
Yeah.
Amazon Prime and if your audience is Amazon Prime, then it'll show the show to or movie to everybody in the stream. But
Ah.
yeah, but for everyone else, you have to obviously queue up and just have
Hmm.
like you have to start at the same time. You just three,
Timestamps. Yeah.
two, one, go.
Yep. Or
uh,
otherwise, if you do a truncated version on YouTube, you can market it as a reaction, which becomes transformative. So they can't
mhm.
copyright strike you.
Exactly. Um, but I mean, that's always fun. I know that a lot of people do that for video games. Like people can get away with that more so for video games than they can
Yeah.
movies or shows. So
Yeah.
so a lot of people are super into doing video game let's plays or streams, which I know is a really big thing. I've dabbled in it a little bit. I personally prefer to just experience the game myself, but I know that a lot of people have a lot
Yeah.
of fun engaging with an audience while they like play a game or watch anything.
Ashley just popped up with a question I was about to ask too. I know you mentioned Spyro and Sonic, but what's your all-time favorite video game?
Whew. When I was a kid, it was Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy.
Oh,
That
wow.
was a game that I really liked. Was Jack and Daxter, and that was my favorite game for a long, long time. Um, as far as my actual favorite game goes, that's really hard because it actually does change all the time. Because I never actually sit down and think about what my favorite game is. Um, Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy is an absolute classic, though. And what is it? Out of all of the Spyro games, I like Spyro more than Sonic. I got to be honest. I would say Spyro 2 is probably the best one. Um, Now I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think actually. What are some games I've played in the last 10 years that are really good? Um, Marvel Spider-Man is a really good game. I don't know if I'd knock that as my favorite game, but um
Why not? Top five, we'll say. We'll rephrase
top 5. Top 5 games. Uh,
it.
but no, I don't. Admittedly, I just play a bunch of the same video games I played in my childhood over and
Yeah.
over. And
That's valid. I'm with you.
yeah, yeah.
There
But
are
no.
some old LucasArts games I must have downloaded and found emulators for like 20 times.
Oh God, right.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of like older games, well, this game isn't really that old. One of the games is old. I know a lot of people have had like a recent fascination with Sam and Max.
Yeah.
Sam and Max has made a resurgence. I don't know if you've heard of that franchise, but I
I
know
remember it. Yep.
there was a really old point and click game that I think LucasArts did.
Hmm.
And I bought that on Steam along with all of the Telltale games they did. I still haven't played them, but I've been meaning to get around to that
Someday.
someday, one day. Oh God, my Steam library is so packed full of stuff that I'll probably never touch. I hate to admit it, but it's true. Let's see, let me tell you exactly how much I have in there, and I'll tell you how much I've probably touched of it. I have I have 900 items in my Steam library, and I guarantee you I've touched 40 of them.
Granted, that is way higher than I was expecting.
Yeah, no, it's a lot more than I'm sure you were expecting. I've got 900 things in my Steam library, and I've touched maybe 40 of them. I'm really bad.
Wow. Ari comes up with a pretty interesting question. If, God forbid, you were sentenced to the world of Has-Been Hotel, what do you think your demon form would look like? Yours.
Oh, it wouldn't be anything cool. It would probably just be I'd probably just be like a rat or something. Or like a possum. I'd be something trashy. I'd probably
Trash.
be some kind of weird possum hybrid thing. I I don't actually know exactly what causes people to look a certain way in the realm of hell in that franchise. I'm sure there's like a reason that characters become a certain way. Um, like how Angel is a spider. I'm sure there's like an internal reason for that, but I don't actually know what it is. I don't know what the circumstances of like how their form is down there. But if I had to guess what mine would be, it would probably just be something trashy like a possum. Like a walking kind of anthropomorphic possum.
That's awesome. People love possums. They eat ticks and
They
can't carry
do.
rabies.
And
Yeah.
they eat trash. They're awesome.
Yeah. We love our
Exactly.
possums.
We do love our possum pals. That just reminds me also of because I was watching a Goofy movie with a few friends recently. Just the possum theme park and everything. Classic.
So we try to mix it up with questions. Don't want to ask you the same things you've been asked 100 times before in
Oh
your
no,
life,
you're
because
good.
that's. But here's a weird one that got tossed around this morning and kind of stumped everybody. But when you sign on to these things, is there ever a
Mhm.
question or a topic in the back of your mind you're thinking, someone asked me this. I am dying to talk about it. No one ever asks, and I don't know how to bring it up. If that's ever happened to you, this is your chance, Michael.
Why don't they ask how I'm doing? No,
Michael, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Oh,
I'm a little warm. We just got our air conditioning fixed because we're supposed to experience like the worst heat wave ever uh,
yay.
in the next week over here in California. And well, not just California, but just on the entire West Coast. I think it's
Yeah,
going to be
all the
pretty
way up
bad.
through Washington. Yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be really like in the 115s, I think, or 120. I can't remember. I think
yeah.
115. It's supposed to be really bad. Um,
Speaking as a Mainer, we would die.
yeah, right. Exactly. I'm
Just
from Ohio and I lived in
yeah.
Seattle for a little bit, so I'm used to the cold. So the
Mm-mm.
temperature has been not fun, but we just had some guy come over and look at our air conditioner, and he did some repairs on it. He fixed the refrigerant on it. He made sure there were no holes or anything, and hopefully by later today it'll be a lot more effective because he just left maybe like 20 minutes before I started this.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're hoping to get the air conditioner working in proper order because we have like central cooling in this house. And yeah, no, it's just the heat's been pretty bad.
that
it's
sucks.
it's not been fun, especially it's I think it's okay right now. What is it like? It's probably in the 90s right now. Let me check.
That no, that sucks.
Yeah,
90s is bad. We're
90s is
supposed to
bad.
get we're supposed to touch 90s on Monday, and we're already all looking at it like, oh no.
Oh god. Yeah, it's 91 right now and I'm a little hot, but I'm at this point I'm numb to it. I'm used to it. It's just
Hmm.
it's become part of normal life here, I guess, in California.
How
But
long
yeah,
have you lived in California for?
since since July last year, so it'll be a year pretty soon. Let me check. When did the Attic music video come out? I think that was like July 14th. That will literally mark 1 year since I moved to California.
Yeah, so
Because
you've got about 3 weeks.
yeah, 3 weeks will mark one whole year, which is really weird.
Oh, you gotta have a little cake shaped like the bear that's on the flag.
Yeah, we could. We should.
Yeah,
We're always looking for excuses to buy a cake, so
that's
maybe that's
it's
our
like my
excuse.
life motto.
Exactly. We always try to find excuses to buy a cake because we're heathens in this household.
It's one
We
full
are
year in California, and you have not caught fire, and you haven't broken off into the ocean, so it's perfect.
well. I wouldn't say that. We did actually have a pretty bad fire in our area, and it was a little terrifying. We
Okay.
evacuated for like 2 or 3 days, but
Oh,
thankfully our house ended up fine. Thankfully, we were
yeah.
really scared because what's funny is there was this huge fire and it was not even far from our house. It was like a really bad fire and we were worried we were going to lose our house and this was after maybe living there for like 2 or 3 weeks. So
Hmm.
we hadn't even been fully moved in yet, and we were already facing the idea of, oh no, what if we lose this new house we just moved into?
That sucks.
Yeah, that's when we found our kitten Cricket. Yeah, we found our kitten Cricket. I think a week or two after everything was over and after the fire was all done with. She was stuck in a fence, and she was a little baby. She was like very small. She was like maybe like this small. Like she fit in your hand. She was such a small little baby. She's so much bigger now, and she's really destructive. She's very crazy.
Cricket.
We call her Cricket because she jumps around and is so hyper all the time.
That's
She,
awesome.
she's ridiculously hyper.
If there were any other character in Has Been that you'd want to voice, whose role would you steal? Assuming you don't need to murder them to do it, whose role would you steal?
I auditioned for Alistair, Husk, and Angel. Those are the three characters I got audition sides for. I don't know if I'd be a good fit for Alistair. I think that Ed Bosco, the guy that voices him now, is
Yeah.
perfect. I couldn't imagine anyone else in that role. Um, Mick Lauer is also really good as Husk, so I wouldn't take his role. Um, I hate that guy that voices Angel. He sounds bad. I'd take no,
Yeah.
but if anyone outside of those three, honestly, Sir Pentious would be a lot of fun. Sir Pentious
Yeah.
would be a very fun character because he's so goofy and comical, and he just has so much like goofball energy that that's just something that I'd really love to do. I kind of took a little bit of inspiration from Will Stamper's performance as Sir Pentious. Took some of that into consideration when I was doing Fantokyo, for instance, for Billy Bustup.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, if people say that they kind of have a similar energy, that's why. Uh, I really love his take on that character. A lot of
That's
fun,
cool
very
to be
very funny.
inspired. That's awesome.
No, exactly. Like actors are inspired by a lot of other different actors. Like no, there's no performance I think at this point that's fully original.
Hmm.
A lot of us take inspiration from things we've heard or seen before, and nothing wrong with that at all.
Now,
We
just
all
imagine in the future you can do a role and people be like, "Oh my God, where'd you pull that from?" You say, Event Horizon.
I mean, Angel Dust is kind of inspired by Joe Pesci a little bit. Um, when I when
Yeah.
I
All right.
when I originally auditioned for, like, he's not a full impression. He's just slightly inspired by him.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I auditioned for Angel Dust, the only thing that existed was there was a headcanon voice for him, which was there were two voices. There was Steve Buscemi, and there was I can't remember his name, but he sang the song "Reach for the Gun" from the movie Chicago, which is based on the play. Um,
In the movie,
yeah, it's based on the movie's performance of the song.
um, then that's Richard Gere, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Richard Gere. That's his name.
Yeah.
It's the voice where he goes like, "All I'd say is, don't my choo choo jump the track." You know, when he's
Yeah.
like doing that like higher voice.
With the
That's
puppet
yeah,
versions. Yeah.
exactly. That's the singing voice that she had in mind for him, and so I kind of took that into consideration. Um, and so I tried to do that, but add more of like personality from Joe Pesci as far as like the way he speaks, like as far as
Huh.
like tonality and his accent, I guess. Like I tried to go for more of a Joe Pesci kind of accent with that Richard Gere kind of puppet kind of sound for Chicago. That's basically what Viv was looking for with Angel. And admittedly, in the pilot, I don't think it's as perfect as it could have been. But over time, if I get to work on the series, hopefully I get to adjust that voice a little bit more because I know that we played around with it a good bit, especially on Honeycast.
Yeah.
So, because that character, when I recorded for the pilot, that was my first time ever recording for the guy. We did it in like 2 sessions. So I've gotten to learn the character a lot more since then, since the pilot. So there's probably a few things, if I do get to continue the voice into the series, there's probably a few things that will probably change with the character's voice, but nothing significant. It'll probably just be a little harsher sounding.
Miles pops in. If you were to cosplay as any of your characters, who would it be?
Oh, probably Rocky from Lackadaisy.
It looks
Because
comfortable. Yeah.
yeah, because he wears like a nice suit, and he actually does have a human form that Tracy has drawn. Like obviously not in the comics, he doesn't ever turn into a human, but she's drawn human versions of all the characters, and
Hmm.
we've gotten to see what that kind of looks like. And he would probably be the most comfortable one to cosplay as. Angel Dust, I wouldn't feel comfortable because his stuff is way too tight, and I would not pull that off, not at all. I don't think I would pull that off at all. And then Fantokyo basically just wears like a cape and that's it. He wears nothing else, so that'd be a little weird. Uh, so
You could
yeah,
do like a bodysuit or
right,
something.
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, Rocky Rickaby from Lackadaisy would probably be the most fun one to cosplay as.
The fashion in that comic is amazing. She's really pulled out like the 1920s noir kind of.
Oh yeah, no, the just the shading and the compositing on that and everything. She's the fact that she does it all by herself is insane.
Yeah, it is.
And like people like to complain about how long it takes for her to update, but I totally understand why it takes her
Yeah.
so long to update with how much she's doing by herself, especially now that she's working on the animated short at the same time. It's going to be pretty difficult for her to manage doing an entire 20-minute short alongside her comics and
Were there
also
any other
getting other
Lackadaisy
things set up.
characters?
Hmm?
Were there any other Lackadaisy characters that you auditioned for?
I was actually reached out to for Lackadaisy to voice Rocky.
Oh, cool.
So I didn't have the opportunity to audition for anyone else. I just Fable Seagull. I think I don't know how to pronounce his their last name, but
Hmm.
Fable. They are the director for the film, and we actually met at the Hasbin Hotel premiere party that we had because there was a big premiere event that everyone did for people that were in the cast and crew, where we all got to see the film. And while we were there, Fable reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you're Michael, right? The guy that voiced Angel?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hello." And they're just like, "Hey, I might have a job for you."
Ding.
They're like, "I might have a job for you. Do we follow each other on Twitter? Or do you have like an email I can reach out?" I'm like, "I'll follow you back on Twitter and we can just DM there." And so we DM'd. They were like, "It's something about like rum runners and alcohol and 20s and stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, that sounds like nothing I've ever heard of. I look forward to seeing what it is." And then about a month later, they messaged me and they were like, "Okay, so this is the project, this is the character, this is everything. Um, we'd like you to give us a few ideas and samples of what that might sound like,
Hmm.
and see where we go from there." And I had no idea what Lackadaisy was. I just was like, "Oh, this is cool." I told my girlfriend Ashley about it, and she was like, "How do you not know what Lackadaisy is? Are you serious?"
It's
She
kind of a
yelled.
staple of the
I
comics
know.
world.
I know. She yelled at me. She was like, "How do you not know?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a fool. I'm uneducated."
So that's interesting. You were saying how with Angel Dust, Viv was kind of able to give you the headcanon idea of what to shoot for. When it comes to Rocky, where they kind of showed you the character and said, give us what you think it would sound like, how do you work toward finding that voice?
I read through the comics and I looked at the character. Originally, I actually had a different idea for what I wanted to do with the character. Because the character came off as being very comical and goofy.
Mm,
Which he is. He is very much comical and goofy. Um, but at the same time, I also read a lot of people's thoughts online because I wanted to get their ideas of like what they thought he might sound like, just to see, just that way I could kind of honor that as well. And
mhm.
apparently, I had read on a Wikia page that Tracy herself, I don't actually know, she didn't say this herself, but she mentioned that a lot of people in the community have said that they headcanon think of Rocky as sounding like Nathan Lane. Um,
Oh,
and Nathan Lane's voice, like Timon from Lion King,
yeah,
or
and Birdcage and
yeah,
yeah.
Birdcage, the producers, all those things. And I wanted to kind of honor that in one of my takes. I don't think we went for the Nathan Lane kind of take at all. We went for something that was a little more rough. Because I did something that was a lot. I did three takes. I did one that was closer to my natural voice, but a lot more energetic, a lot more Nathan Lane energy. I did one that was kind of like Angel Dust because that's why Fable reached out to me, and I'm like, maybe they want this. I
True.
don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't think it fit. They didn't think it fit either. I'm glad. I don't think that would have been a good idea. Um, and then the next one was the one that I ended up doing. Was because they wanted me to add a little bit of rasp to the character because he's been through some stuff in his life.
Mm.
He's not been in a lot of good situations. So probably his voice has been like he probably sounds like he smoked a few packs. He's been through a bunch of garbage in his life and whatnot. And my girlfriend Ashley is actually the one that suggested I do a raspier take, which is the take we ended up going with. So that's
All
uh that's
right.
that's on my girlfriend Ashley for suggesting that.
Now you get to rasp all the time.
Yeah. I mean my voice in general, the raspy stuff right now is a lot easier for me cuz oh god, I've been talking a lot since like yesterday and I screamed yesterday, so my voice is just a little more worn, so the raspy stuff comes a lot more naturally now.
We discussed your favorite video game of all time, but Ashley would like to know, what do you have a favorite anime of all time, or if you prefer, a top five?
Favorite anime. I really love the romance anime Toradora. Toradora is a really cute one. I really enjoyed that. Um, let's see. I actually don't watch as much anime as I used to. Um, definitely a lot I like a lot more sad anime, if
Oh.
anything, which is funny
Mm.
because again, I mentioned that my favorite genre is like comedy and sci-fi, but for anime, I just really love the sad like storytelling stuff. So stuff like Toradora, Clannad,
Mm.
Angel Beats is fun. But then there's also the other side of me that's like I just love One Piece. Though admittedly it's been a while since I've read or watched any of it because it's gone on for so long. Uh,
Yeah,
I think I left off on One Piece on like episode 500 something, and it's already almost to episode 1000. So I got a little ways to go if I ever want to catch up.
that's ridiculous.
It's gone on for so long, and it's probably going to go on for at least another 5 years, I think.
Really?
The Oda, the guy that writes for One Piece, has said that he's getting closer to the end. There's only a few more arcs left, but it's probably going to take a few more years. So it's uh
Wow.
it's
I
a
guess
long
it's
one.
good if he knows the full extent of the story and he's following it, and he's not just like, time to pull this out for another 5 years because people are buying it. Thank God he's staying true to a story instead.
No, it's like it's from everything I've read, it seems like he kind of knows where he wants to go with it and that he
Good.
has known. It's just a matter of, wanting to make it as complete as he wants it to be. And
Yeah.
also him getting sidetracked and maybe adding too much where he intended. Because I know that there was one arc, I think. I can't remember the name of the arc because I actually haven't read it or watched it, but there's apparently one arc of One Piece that is literally half of One Piece, where it's like the entire half of the series, and the author Eiichiro Oda even said, "Yeah, that went on a lot longer than I expected it to. I'm gonna try my best to not do that again, because yeah, it's way longer than I think he anticipated it being. But
I know a lot of
yeah,
actors eventually try their hand at either writing or directing or script writing. Is that something that you ever thought you would dabble in?
Script writing, probably not. I'm not very good at that. I'd be down to try doing like voice direction or something. I don't know if I'd
Hmm.
get into actual directing for like a project. I don't know if that would be the best. Like voice direction, though, I'd probably try to do. Um, way later down the line. I don't think I'm nearly experienced enough to try and even dabble in that just yet. But I'd be down to like try different things. I know that a lot of voice actors I know, that particularly do anime, they'll start with voice acting and then they'll move to doing things like ADR time coding
Yeah,
or like other minor things that you wouldn't even really think about in the grand scheme of things. Um, right now, I think I'm focused mostly on just voice acting, but we'll see what the future holds, I guess, because I would
yeah,
be down to try and do something else. Voice directing seems like fun. I don't think I really have the writing skills for it, but I mean, I'm not opposed to trying script writing if the opportunity presents itself.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Is there a role that you've done that, like, what would you say you most want people to recognize or remember you as?
Well, whether I like it or not, I think that Angel Dust is probably the one that I think everybody is probably going to see first because of
Yeah,
how immensely popular that franchise is. Not to say, like, just because I said whether I like it or not doesn't mean that I don't like that. It's
no
just
worries.
that is absolutely the
Like that,
character.
it might
Like,
have been taken out of your hands, in other words.
exactly. Um, but I do love Angel Dust, so I'm very happy about that.
He is a
That,
really
that
cool character.
he is. He's a fun character. I think that Angel's probably the big one that people are going to recognize. As far as stuff right now, I think that Fantokyo is definitely the second most popular one, I think, because a lot of people have really enjoyed that particular performance and a lot of the events that we've done for that game. People have seemed to really enjoy that, which is funny because I would have expected Lackadaisy to come second because of how long that's been going on for. Because I would think that Lackadaisy has a lot more of an audience and a lot more people that have been in it for so long. But it seems like Billy Bust Up has a little bit more people paying attention to it, at least from what I've seen for stuff. So I think that Fantokyo and Angel are probably the two biggest ones that I have that people really are aware of me from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh, if you can talk about such plans, are there any plans for more songs like Addict in the future?
You know, Silva asked me if I wanted to do another song, and I said yeah, but he hasn't said anything else. So
Songs take time.
they do, they do. Silva actually did ask me. He's like, "Hey, would you be down to do another song as Angel?" I'm like, "I'll have to ask Viv for permission."
Mhm.
And I asked Viv for permission, and she said, "Absolutely. If he wants to, just let me know, let me approve it, and then we can do that." So again, it's just a matter of getting things approved with her and making things happen. But I would absolutely not be opposed to doing another song. Silva seems interested, and I definitely don't have any issue with doing more music. So, and
Cool.
also, I really have fun getting to do songs because that's not something I'm used to doing because I used to be in choir in high school, but
Yeah.
otherwise I'm not really much of a musician. I was always more of a voice actor. So getting to do songs is a little out of my comfort zone, which I like because that means that it's something new. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to doing more songs in the future.
Now, when you're getting ready to record for the day, do you have a vocal warm up that you go through, like tongue twisters or a particular?
I
And can
sing
we?
I sing All Star by Smash Mouth. I just I just sing whatever is stuck in my head, and usually
Oh, start.
it just ends up being some kind of stupid meme or something. Um,
Perfect.
I'll just do a bunch of singing just to kind of get my tongue back in action, get my make sure my mouth isn't too wet sounding, make sure that my
Mhm.
energy is good. I'll usually just sing a song, and usually I just opt for All Star by Smash Mouth. It's the easy one.
Just because it's kind of always in the back of your head.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, yes. And also it's one of those songs that I just automatically know all of the lyrics to anyway. Because I
Uh,
usually just will sing the entire song just to myself, just to be like, okay, am I able to speak today? Is today a good day where my mouth actually works? Let's find out. That's usually the tester. And usually it runs me through my paces. It's usually a pretty good example. Otherwise, I know a lot of people like to do lip trills and like actual um musically inclined warm-ups like from choir like the those things. I usually don't do those. I haven't done those in years actually. But those are also very valid. I just do it my own meme kind of way where I just sing All Star.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Scrolling back up. If you could voice any character from any show, even if it's not animated.
From any show, any character from any show. That's tough because it goes back to what I was saying about like Sonic or Spyro earlier,
Hmm.
is that usually if there's already a voice for a character, I usually totally envision that voice as being the voice, and I don't like to think about myself replacing them because I don't know, if I feel like they did a good job and I don't want to discredit that or whatnot. So that's a little bit more of a difficult question for me because I usually don't want to replace anybody. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
if there's a cartoon that I would have, so I'll rephrase that too. If there's like a cartoon or any show that I would have liked to have been a part of, um, I love Beastars. Beastars is actually an anime that I've been
It was
really
really
into.
good.
Beastars has been a really fun time. I'm very excited to see season 2 once that's all on Netflix dubbed. And that's a franchise I'd love to be a part of. That's a show that I'd like to potentially do something, even though it's like a little bit role. That'd be fun to do. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, I love Beastars. That's probably
that
one.
was an excellent show. It kind of came out of nowhere, but it was excellent.
Oh
And the
yeah, for
music in it
sure.
was amazing.
Oh, I love the original opening song too.
Hmm.
It's such a good show.
And it
And
really caught your attention with the claymation because that
yeah, the
is,
claymation in the
there's nothing else
intro.
with like that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's really beautiful. And God, as much as I would have liked to have actually seen an anime that's fully claymation, I understand that would be a lot of
A
work.
lot of
A
work.
lot of work. Um I
Well, we
and
have movies like Coraline, which
yeah,
worked that way.
exactly, but also you gotta keep in mind just how many people are involved for that, how much time it
Mm,
takes, how
yeah.
much effort and pre-production goes into that. It's a lot. So if they were to do, like, a whole anime series like that, it might be too expensive to maintain and
Mm,
too long to make work, but I think the style they went for with Beastars, with it being 3D CG, I think they made it work.
yeah.
I know a lot of people tend to have opinions on 3D CG anime. Specifically, I know Berserk 2016 I think is like a point of contention for a lot of people. Um, but with Beastars and the series they did prior to that, which I think was called Land of the Lustrous, I think they
Mhm.
did a really good job with managing that 3D aesthetic without it looking too jarring.
There was a
Um,
balance for sure.
yeah, like they had a good balance between, what looks kind of 2D and what looks 3D and what looks good and not like it's trying too hard to emulate 2D, but also not, really jarring. Um, there's just certain technicalities that I can't even begin to describe because I'm not like an
Mhm.
animator or 3D person.
Right.
But
Like, I don't know how you did it, but it looks great.
exactly, it looks good and it's believable and it won me over. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I really like that show and just that general aesthetic.
Right from the opening sequence too, that opening shot where the event that kind of kicks everything off takes place and you don't see who it does it, but there it is.
Mhm.
I remember thinking this animation is incredible.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Land of Lustrous is
So
really good. Hell yeah, it was
it
really
was,
good.
yeah. We will be wrapping up soon. But we do have time for a few more questions if anyone's sitting on anything
Yeah, if
particularly
anybody got
burning.
questions. Oh yeah, Jonah Scott is a guest tomorrow. I think I saw that on the website that yeah, Jonah Scott's doing stuff here. I know he's doing a signing I think today for Skate the Infinity.
The simul signing, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing some signing on Twitch I think. Along with other actors, Matt Shipman, Ryan McKeon, a few other people. I know he's been busy with that. Glad to see that he's been doing a lot of stuff though. Jonah's a really cool guy.
Skate the Infinity is another one that kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah. But
I
the
haven't
story
seen
was
Skate the Infinity,
it's
but
it's quite good. You
I've
would think like
heard.
skateboarding. I don't know, whatever, but it's good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I know my really good friend Ryan McKeon got cast as what I can't the cat boy. I can't remember his name with like the
Mia.
purple hair. Mia. Yeah, my friend Rye voices Mia in the dub, and I know a lot of people have really enjoyed that anime and that dub. So I need to watch it. Hopefully,
It's good.
sometime soon. I'll just sit down and binge it with my girlfriend because I know
Nice.
she probably wants to watch it too. I know she's been on an anime kick. She's been watching through
Mhm.
My Hero Academia lately. She decided to catch up on all of it, and I'm still only on season 3, so I need to catch up on it myself.
You have time. It's fine. What? Oh, random. What's your favorite song?
My
I'm
favorite
assuming All
song,
Star.
mm, All Star would be a good one, but a song that I really like is I don't know what it is. This is so weird for me. It's not a song that you would think of. It's Somewhere Only We Know by Keen.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere only we know. I really like that song. It's a very peaceful, kind of happy song that I like to listen to. But Uh, that's just in the dark recesses of my mind. In reality, it's actually All Star by Smash Mouth. Let's be real. There's there's no way that can't be my favorite song with how often I think about it. um, but no, I'm not really all. I'm such a boring person. I'm also not very musically inclined. Like as far as like listening
It's
to music,
okay.
I don't listen to a lot of music either. I usually just listen to the same stuff. So it's All Star, Somewhere Only We Know. As far as like musicians, I really like. Uh, Actually, I'm gonna be really. I'm gonna take you by surprise. I actually like a lot of classical music too. I like to listen to
Cool.
classical music just when I'm not really doing anything. If I have a playlist on, it's usually either like the same video game music over and over, like a playlist, or it's just
Mm,
like a classical music playlist. Because those things like to they keep me calm. It's a nice, like
yeah,
calming kind of sound.
especially video game soundtracks. That
Oh no,
perfect
exactly.
background
Like
music.
Chrono Trigger or like older SNES music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff
Chrono
is really
Cross had
nice.
one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. I still own that album and I'll never get rid of it.
I still need to play Chrono Cross. I played
It's
through
set
Chrono Trigger
aside
and
like
really enjoyed
70
it.
hours because holy cannoli.
Holy cannoli, indeed. Yeah, I had a friend named John that really liked Chrono Cross and tried to sell me on it, and still need to play it, but hopefully at some point I can just dedicate a good chunk of time to that one. The Kingdom Hearts soundtrack is also very good. Japanese city pop is your go-to. Japanese city pop is really good too. Yeah. What's that one song by oh man, I feel so bad not knowing it off the top of my head. My friend Caitlin did a cover of it in English. Let me find the name of it. It's "Plastic Love" by Maria Takeuchi. That's a really good song. Um, I think that kind of falls into the genre of Japanese city pop. "Plastic Love." Uh, if you haven't heard that, my friend Caitlin Myers did an English cover of it. Really good. Yeah,
Awesome.
"Plastic Love." Yeah, that's a really good song. Oh, I see. Ashley also asked, do you still fluster Ashley with "Oh Ashley's" even with Honeycast on hiatus? I actually never do. I actually never do. She admittedly, it's gotten a little old to me. It does still work on Ashley, I think. Especially if it's like off guard. But if you do too much of something, it gets repetitive. that's that's the nature of things. Understandable. Yep. Have I been listening to your YouTube playlists? Probably. It's a secret though.
Listening. Creepy. Kind of creepy.
Kind of creepy.
But also flattering. It's a fine line. Very
Oh
fine.
yeah.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great night. I know it's not quite night over there yet, but we're coming up on 6 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it's getting late for you guys.
Yeah. All I can tell from your window is that you appear to live on the sun in all of
Yeah,
its.
you can see the sun beaming through. I used to have the desk aimed at the wall, but then the sun would get directly in my eyes, so
Mm,
I had to change it around. I'm like, all right, I guess my back's gonna be to the wall. I guess we're just gonna do it this way.
gotta put some kind of fascinating backdrop back there.
Yeah, I would close the blinds anymore, but they just don't seem to close all the way. I don't know why.
Oh, I hope your AC starts working too.
Yeah, so far it seems like it's starting to work. So I'm very excited for that. A lot more air is definitely appreciated.
Cool. If
But
you have
no,
time later this weekend, feel free to pop in on any other panels, any other voice actors or game shows that you feel like might interest you. You've got the Tendify link, so you're part of PortCon now. Welcome to the family.
heck yeah.
Um,
Thank you so
and
much.
yeah, thank you. On behalf of everybody else, this was great, and everyone's really looking forward to seeing more of Has Been. And I'm
Hmm.
super psyched about that musical game that you were talking about, and Lackadaisy, of course. But
Yeah, thank you so much. All
no
right.
problem. Have a
You all
good
have a
night.
bye. Have a wonderful time, everybody. Bye.